So for today's video, I want to do something fun and some a creative exercise. I was thinking last night, like, what would be a camera I would create? Like, what would be my dream camera to create if I could? And so I wanted to do that on camera and share with you. And then I would also like to know, what would your dream camera look like? Again, let your imagination run wild. So first of all, let's talk about size. I'm gonna go with this size body. This is the Sony A7CR, but I just love this size body of a camera. It's a super small camera, super lightweight. I can throw it in a bag. I can throw it, around my neck or over my shoulder, and it doesn't get in the way. So I really, really love that. It would have interchangeable lenses, so that would be the second thing. Make sure it's interchangeable lens system, and I would probably go with an E-mount system. Not because I'm a Sony fanboy, but they have so many lenses, right? You can get almost every company makes an E-mount lens, so I would go with Sony E-mount, and you can also adapt the lenses to E-mount, like Canon lenses. Sigma has an adapter. I've never used it, but you could do that. For build quality, I'm going to go with the Hasselblad X2D build quality. I've never used one. I've never touched one, but I've seen that they're all metal. It's all like precision design, like out of one metal chunk. And so I would love something like that. And the other reason why is because it has a terabyte of internal storage, which I think every company should be giving us internal storage, at least half a terabyte. I would even take 256 gigabytes, but just something so where if I leave the house and I forget a memory card, which I've done more than I'd like to admit, at least I have that backup. And also give me an SD card slot, just standard SD card. I don't need anything crazy. As for dials and tactile, obviously I'm going to say, well, let's go with Fujifilm. I think they're killing it right now. And if I was going to think of a certain Fujifilm camera, I mean, I guess the only one I have experience with is the X-T5, and I do like those button. I mean, it just gives it like an old school tactile format. I'm trying to think resolution wise, I'm gonna say this camera would be 50 megapixels. I know I have a 61 megapixel sensor here, but I'm thinking 50 because the pixels themselves could be bigger, and you could like keep the same 61 megapixel size wafer, but make the pixels bigger. So that way you can get in more light, you can have lower ISO, you have better dynamic range, and the files don't have to be ginormous, right? You can still keep it relatively in small, in air quotes, a relatively small file. So that would be, I think that would be more than enough. I don't think you need to go larger than full frame, or I don't think 100 megapixels is worth it, but I think 50 is a good solid number. Now, with that, you could also do what I believe Hasselblad and some other companies do, where they do pixel bending. So that way, if you want to go down to like a 25 megapixel image, you could combine those pixels so you have better low light, you have even better dynamic range in that low light when you're doing low light images in that pixel bending format. Again, I barely know what pixel bending is. I understand it, but like explaining it, look it up if you have questions. But I believe that would work. Obviously, we gotta have film simulation like the Fujifilm lineup. So get the Fujifilm film simulation. However, I would say I like the new Sony menu layout. You could take out a lot less stuff. I would take out a lot less stuff because I just don't use any of that stuff. Again, this is a camera for me, so I'm thinking of my dream camera. So I would use the same layout that is in the current line of Sony cameras, but just make it simpler. If I could fit up a little heads up display, I had it on the Panasonic G9, like a little heads up display on here, just a digital display, I should say, a little digital display. That would be awesome. Keeping it small. Would I want a joystick or anything on the back? Sure, why not? Put a joystick, a little small joystick on the back, like I would actually put the joystick, if I were making this camera, I would put the joystick right here. So I would still have the wheel, but then I would use the joystick as like a second option, and then let that be a button also, like the center here is too. So again, more customization. And then I would make all the buttons customizable. And then here is a controversial thing. No video recording. So this camera would be strictly for photography. No video recording. You know my stance. I don't shoot video with these. I'm not a hybrid shooter. If I'm in a pinch, maybe. I think I've used my X-T5 video once when I was just testing it out, but no video. This is a straight photography camera. And then I would make a second version of the same camera in monochrome only. So it would be a monochrome only camera. So I would have a color and then a monochrome. And I know you could say, well, you have the Fujifilm film simulation, you could just do that. Nope, I'm going with the monochrome only. What else? Is there anything else? I'm trying to think if there's something from the GR3X that I like. Well, there's some film simulation that they have that Fujifilm doesn't have that I like better on Ricoh. So I would combine the, actually, you know what? You could import your own custom LUTs. There you go. So you can import your own custom recipes onto this camera. Again, you would have, in my camera, you'd have a terabyte of storage plus the memory card slot, but you could put your custom LUTs on there, and then you could shoot pictures because, again, photography only camera. This is a wild pie in the sky exercise, but it's fun to dream about it, and it's fun to think about what you like and what you don't like on the cameras that you do have or cameras that you've read about. Again, I've never touched a Hasselblad. I've never even looked at it in person, but the build quality does look pretty amazing. Now it's your turn. Let me know down in the comments, what dream camera, like if you could build your own dream camera, what would it be? What would it look like? How would you do it? I would love to have that discussion down below. Again, let your imagination run wild. That's something that I feel like as adults we get away from. We're so practical. We got to do this, we got to do that, but we sometimes just don't let our imagination go wild. And photography should be fun. And us photographers, we're a little too serious sometimes when it comes to our craft. So let's have some fun with it. Let's bring fun back into photography. And this is my little way of hopefully getting some fun and making you guys have a fun day with this silly exercise, but it's still fun. All right, thank you as always for watching this video. If you like hearing the ramblings of a middle-aged man talking to a camera about photography gear, and the philosophy of photography, then this channel is for you. My name is Kwame, and I will see you in the next one. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.